Am I even a Charlotte Mason homeschooler? Hi, I'm Jenny with Kids Learning for Life, and today I'm going to talk about homeschool methods, and in particular, which ones I use and which ones I don't. Let's cut to the chase. The main homeschool method that I love and use mostly is the Charlotte Mason method. This is no secret, especially if you've been following me on this channel for all this time. I love Ambleside Online, which is a free Charlotte Mason curriculum available online, and I just think that there is a huge importance in reading good classic literature. I learned in our summer book club this past summer, which is all available on our YouTube channel as well as on our podcast feed, Learning for Life. I learned a lot about Charlotte Mason because we read Home Education by Charlotte Mason, which is book 1 in her Home Education series. I realized that there are a lot of things in the Charlotte Mason method that I do and I love, but I also realized that there were a lot of things that I haven't been doing. For example, obviously we read a lot of classic literature for our school lessons in various subjects, but one thing I have always struggled with is narration. So while it is something that I'm actively working on improving and implementing routinely, it's something that I just haven't been the best at implementing in the past. I am not the best at having my children do narrations after every single reading. Quite frankly, sometimes I forget and sometimes I just don't feel up to getting that information out of them, and that's just the honest truth. So narrations are something we are working on. That being said, there are some things from the Charlotte Mason method that I do use and I am very passionate about, and I've even been doing these even before I really started studying Charlotte Mason's philosophy. These things are keeping lessons short and teaching the habit of attention. These things really go hand in hand because they work together. So doing the short lessons really does help exercise that muscle in a child's mind to help them just be able to stay focused on a task and give all of their attention to a task at hand. This is one of the things that I am most passionate about in homeschooling, and this is the number one piece of advice that I give to people who are either brand new to homeschooling or are just feeling like they're in a rut. I personally have witnessed the benefits of keeping lessons short, teaching the habit of attention, because we keep the school day very short, and in doing so, we leave more time for chores and leisure, and also my children are learning how to stay focused on a task, and that's really important to me. So yeah, living books, short lessons, narrations, these are all ways that my homeschool can be classified as Charlotte Mason. But while I utilize the Charlotte Mason method the most by far out of all of the various homeschool methods, there are a few others that I sometimes dabble in. I never thought I would say this, especially not out loud, but I have actually been enjoying a little bit of unschooling in our homeschool. And I'm really apprehensive to say Charlotte Mason and unschooling kind of in the same context because they are completely different. They are complete opposites, and some people think for some reason that the Charlotte Mason method is kind of unschooly, and it's totally not. So I just want to make that very clear here at the top of my little segment about how we've been using the unschooling method. With the way that mine and my husband's work schedules go and the way our extracurricular schedules go, there are just some times of the year in which we cannot do our normal school routine at all. Before I began kind of getting interested in unschooling, I really just saw this time as a total waste of educational time. I thought it was just so lost, and I thought there was no way to keep things educational going during these times when we were just so busy running around doing all sorts of things. But now I really am using this time to kind of do more child-led activities and lessons. Nothing with much structure at all. That's kind of the opposite of what unschooling is. But, you know, we watch like nature documentaries based on something my kids have expressed interest or curiosity in, or we'll go on like short little local field trips to kind of fulfill those like educational questions that come up, and it keeps the learning going for sure. I'll give you a couple examples. For instance, recently, my mom and I were having a conversation about the book Tess of the D'Urbervilles, and the concept of Stonehenge came up. And I do recommend the book Tess of the D'Urbervilles. If you're at all interested in classic literature, especially Victorian literature, Thomas Hardy is one of my absolute favorite authors. So anyway, we were talking about Stonehenge because it is a kind of a part of the book. I don't want to give anything away. And then my kids were like, what is Stonehenge? And it was kind of hard for me to explain what Stonehenge is because it's kind of inexplicable. We still don't exactly know what it is, but I found a really cool documentary on Disney Plus. It's by National Geographic that kind of hypothesizes as to why Stonehenge was made and how they were able to move these massive pieces of stone into this exact formation. So I thought it was really interesting, and it really just, it tapped into a specific interest my kids had, and that was a really fun way to do learning together. Another, maybe flimsier example is that sometimes we travel with my husband when he's on work trips, and recently we were able to go to Disneyland. And of course, Disneyland is fun, there's all sorts of stuff to do, we love it, like I'm kind of embarrassed to say it, but it's kind of one of my favorite places to go, even pre-kids. But I always make a point to do something somewhat educational, even on these fun trips. So my husband and I made a point of taking our kids to the often overlooked attraction called Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. First of all, I don't even know how much longer this attraction is even gonna exist because they keep, improving the park, updating it, and I just wanted to make sure that my kids were able to see it at least once in their lifetimes, because who knows when we're going to Disneyland again. But also, I thought it was a good opportunity to incorporate some sort of like American history lessons into this really fun trip of ours. I mean, is this even unschooling, or is this just typical homeschool family behavior? You let me know in the comments. Okay, so I'm a lot of a Charlotte Mason homeschooler and a little bit of an unschooling homeschooler. What else? I can pretty confidently say that I don't gain much inspiration from any other homeschool methods. I find personally that it really helps me to stay laser focused on a specific method, and that for the most part has been Charlotte Mason for me, because otherwise I would just be all over the place. So it's really important for me to stay educated and well read on the Charlotte Mason method so that I can implement it as much as possible. Now that I've talked about the homeschool methods that I love and inspire me, which ones do I avoid like the plague? I have always been very allergic to the traditional method of homeschooling. And the last thing I want to do right now is ostracize any viewers that are watching this that enjoy the traditional method. If it's working for you, that is great. But for me personally, I went to public school and I saw how much time was wasted. I saw how much kids just were sitting in their desks and forced to sit there for a certain amount of time and work on something, and I felt like so much kind of potential in all of these different students was lost. I'm not saying that every homeschooler that uses the traditional method does all the things that public schools do, but what I'm saying is I didn't want my homeschool to look anything like traditional public school. My kids would not do well in a traditional school. I can say this with 100% certainty, and I know a lot of other kids don't do well in that environment either, who are perfectly smart and bright and capable. So introducing the traditional method is just something I am not gonna do. I could go on and on about this, but I think I'll stop for now. Another homeschool method that I've never been able to get into is unit studies. As much as I love the concept, and I was really drawn to it initially when I started homeschooling, I just feel like it's a little too one size fits all, and I really enjoy kind of customizing my kids' lessons for their individual needs. I have also found that unit studies do tend, not always, but tend to require a lot of prep work for the parent, and I just can't make that fit in my life, to be honest. So that's another reason why unit studies just hasn't worked for us. Now that I've completely alienated all of you traditional homeschoolers or unit studies homeschoolers, I just want to put a quick disclaimer out there. I want to say that none of these homeschool methods have to be so black and white. Although it may seem like it sometimes, there is no Charlotte Mason police that's gonna come and say, you're doing lessons too long, or you're not doing those narrations right. No one's gonna do that. You're allowed to do homeschool the way that works for you guys, and you're also allowed to change your mind. You are completely allowed, and probably encouraged, to change how you're homeschooling every now and then, especially if you see that something's not working. I've made quite a few changes to my homeschool over the years, and not only is this completely normal, I think it's kind of healthy to do every now and then. Since the Ambleside Online curriculum is an important, crucial piece of how I homeschool, I'm gonna link to my How I Use Ambleside Online video right over here. You go ahead and click that and you can check it out. See you next time, and happy homeschooling.